Welcome back everyone to another Cobra Kai Season 3 watch party. With the release of the new season, a lot of previous theories and speculation has been put to rest. We now know Tory's last name.
Nichols, welcome back.
Thanks.
We also know Allie didn't perform Miguel's surgery, and she also wasn't Tory's sick mom back there. Allie is quite healthy and still lives and works in Colorado, so it may seem like all the speculation and theories have finally gone away. Of course, that's nonsense. This is the Cobra Kai fandom we're talking about. We must assume everyone is related to someone somehow. Otherwise, what's the fun? The big theory now is that Tory is related to Kreese, probably his granddaughter. This theory is based on a few things, most of which are nonsense, but a few at least are a little interesting. Let's take a look. The first big piece is this.
What are you, grandpa or something? Or something.
A lot of people are taking that as a big clue that Kreese is Tory's grandpa. Except Kreese bluntly said he's not.
Or something.
The dialogue was basically acknowledging to the landlord it may seem like Kreese is Tory's grandpa, but they have no relation. Frankly, this scene makes it less likely Tory is related to Kreese than
With a Y.
that seemed to indicate Tory was related to Allie. Still, you can understand the urge. Kreese does act like he's related to her, making a home visit to ask her to come back, telling her she doesn't have to pay for her lessons, that she can train for free, and of course taking care of her problem with the landlord. Those are all things a loving grandpa would do. It's definitely a great look for both the characters. Kreese is taking on the role of protective father when, what the hell was that? Wait, hold on, go back. Look at that. You see that right there? She just stuffs the money down her pants. Like she just reaches in and jams it down in there. You can see, that's where she put it. I mean, I know she wants to keep it safe, but isn't that a little extreme? These pants have pockets, you know. Why can't she use that? It's one thing to learn karate to guard the family jewels, but what about the family money vault? Okay, forget it. Let's move on. Why Tory feels so natural stuffing money down her pants, I will leave that up to you. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right, Kreese. He sees her as a natural fighter, and that's what he wants in Cobra Kai. But there is another part of the theory, which is a little more interesting. Why was Tory's mother not shown? It's a very deliberate decision. Certainly this could have been a little bit more impactful if Tory were bringing her the sandwich herself. And by the way, that sandwich is great. Like, look at that. Way better than anything I could have made at 17. I would have been like, hey mom, I made you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you know, we're out of jelly and there wasn't much bread, so I had to use the 2 crust in pieces. And she's got those perfectly cut apple slices. Like, that takes skill. You gotta be impressed. She put a lot of time into that. The chips, everything. You think Tory should give up the karate and open up a sandwich shop? She could make that work. But what if they were keeping her mom hidden for a reason? What if Tory's mom were Kreese's daughter? Crazy, but the theory goes like this. Betsy wasn't killed in a car crash. Instead, she had a baby. Or possibly she was pregnant and died, but they managed to save the baby. The point being, the captain lied. He was trying to throw Kreese off his game. He is the original teacher of no mercy. So when he said,
Not a word of this to Kreese, understood? Distraction like that could get him killed.
perhaps he was referring to Kreese being a father. That would also be a distraction, knowing you're gonna be a father. But then why the heck do we even think that? It really comes down to the smallest detail. That letter. It arrives in a red envelope. I will say the first time I watched season 3, that stood out a lot. Is this how someone would send a note to Kreese that his doll face died? Put it in a red envelope? It's worth noting Kreese got mail from Betsy earlier in that episode. It was normal and it was in this type of envelope. These are specifically for airmail, so Betsy mailed a picture of herself in this envelope. But what about this one? Is it possible this was a message he's going to be a father? Then they get captured and reported MIA. Confusion happens. Betsy thinks Kreese died. Thanks to the captain, Kreese thinks Betsy died. When in reality, he has a daughter. A daughter who will grow up to have a daughter of her own. A tough, natural fighter with some demons inside. She has some serious problems.
I know you're helping your mom, but you need help.
You think I'm crazy?
Kreese has problems too, and we now know even his mother had problems.
He's the one whose mom killed herself.
Explains why he's such a freak.
Stop that.
It was a different kind of sickness. I didn't understand at the time.
While I wouldn't say they are necessarily facing the same mental troubles, there is a general theme running through them. Tori blames herself and hates herself. Over time, that can bring on depression, the sort of thing Kreese saw in his mother. The biggest problem is she doesn't handle it well. She thinks if she just accepts it, she can channel it, as she told Robbie.
At least I know who I am. You're still pretending to be something you're not. If you take all that hate and you channel it, it makes you stronger. And it feels good.
So she learned that from Kreese. You can imagine Kreese does the same with the hate he feels. He learned it when he was young, and more so when he was in Vietnam. It makes him stronger, and it feels good. I'm not sure how deep the show will go into the various mental and psychological troubles the characters are going through. The series did show they will address them directly, especially with Sam's storyline, and so there may be more coming here. I will come back to this more as I think there is more to look at in depth, especially when we add Terry Silver to the mix. Karate is as much of the mind as it is of the body, so how does that play into this show? Be sure you're subscribed. So maybe this is the real connection between Tory and Kreese, a history of mental illness and how they deal with it. Kreese helped Tori, but it ultimately wasn't making her better, it was just making her more destructive. That is a lot more meaningful than Tori actually being his granddaughter. This was in 1965. Even if it was another year or so before he left for training, this was in 1968. At this point, he had already been in Vietnam for a while and was enlisting in this Special Forces unit. It was more time still for him to learn all the martial arts before we get to this scene with the red envelope. This is all set in 1969, which we know from the finale. I think the envelope was red for thematic purposes. The red stands out on screen. We see it, we notice it. That makes it important. And we know it will come up again, which it does. That's a way of saying if Betsy were pregnant before he shipped out, she would have already had the kid by then, and Kreese would have known. I just don't think the dates and timeline add up. Plus, Betsy's family would have reached out later at some point, or Kreese would have asked the family about her. Even with a lying captain, it's too unfeasible Kreese could have a child and never know about it. So what do you think of the Tory and Kreese connections? Also, do you think the captain was telling the truth, or was there more to that letter? Leave a comment and let me know. I also have a subscribe star if you want to further support the channel and maybe get some exclusive content. Link down below. So have a great day. I'll see you at the next watch party.
No, I'm just a neutral party looking out for our well-being.
Betsy? Yeah, well, she's dead.